So Spider-Man No Way Home is the final film of the Homecoming trilogy. That is 4 years, 3 movies, 1 director, and 1 lead actor, which is Tom Holland. This review won't have any spoilers in it, so you don't have to worry. However, I will talk about some of the things that you see in the trailer. I'm sorry if my voice sounds a little funny. So after Mysterio exposed Peter Parker for being Spider-Man and framed him for murder and terrorism, he now has to live in a world where everyone knows his identity. And it's not easy for him. There are those people that do believe him. At the same time, there are those people that don't. Some people out there truly believe that Mysterio was an actual hero. And also doesn't help that James is out there slandering him and spreading his own bias against Peter Parker. Tom Holland is an awesome Spider-Man. He is truly amazing in the role. His character is always compelling and likable. This movie really pushes the limits emotionally. The first 2 movies were a bit light-hearted in comparison to this one. No Way Home really tugs at the heartstrings. There were multiple moments where I kind of choked up. This was the best performance Tom gave as the character. It made me love the character even more. Not just him, but all the other actors were phenomenal. Zendaya and Tom's chemistry on screen was awesome. I really cared about them. I was so afraid of what was going to happen to her. Throughout the movie, I was kind of nervous because I felt like no one was safe. It really felt like a lot was on the line. Now, I never watched Doctor Strange in theaters, but seeing the mirror dimension where him and Peter were felt really cool. Every time I see Doctor Strange, I like him even more because Benedict Cumberbatch is just awesome in the role. I was so excited to see all the villains return. The best one was obviously Green Goblin. If you thought he was crazy in Spider-Man 1, he is worse here. I really like the fact that he takes off his mask and you really get to see Willem Dafoe's psychotic facial expression when he's the character. He hasn't lost a step. Not all of the villains got their time to shine. I could tell that a few of them weren't the main focus, but the ones that had a lot of screen time, they were great. The fight scenes were like nothing I've ever seen before in the previous 2 Spider-Man movies. It's like Jon Watts decided to take everything on a whole other level. One of the memorable fights was Green Goblin versus Spider-Man. That entire sequence looked so cool. They really made me feel like I was in the moment. It also helped that I watched the movie in 4DX. Not just that fight, but also Spider-Man versus Doc Ock. That bridge fight was not only funny, but it was also amazing to watch. There was a ton of fan service, and I'm not complaining, because personally, I feel like it all landed. It never felt forced. Not just the fan service, but also the humor. I enjoyed seeing the villains from other Spider-Man movies interact with each other. Somehow they managed to not make the movie messy. As we've seen in the past, having too many villains in one movie can cause it to suck. But I guess it's because we've already gotten an introduction to the villain in other movies. So this one doesn't have to carry so much weight. Now let's get to the bad. This was definitely not a perfect movie. I can't talk too much about it without spoiling, but one of those things that kind of bothered me involves Electro. I couldn't understand why he was there. There are also others that I can't talk about yet. The film is 2.5 hours long, and I was never bored. I've mentioned before that Spider-Man is one of my favorite superheroes. It's him and Batman. This did a great job of telling a Spider-Man story. It didn't really need other Avengers too much like the previous 2 did. This was one of the best superhero films I've watched. This was one of the best Spider-Man films I've watched. This is one of the best trilogies I've watched. And I will not hesitate to give this movie 5 stars. It did such an amazing job in making me, a loyal Spider-Man fan, satisfied. It absolutely exceeded my expectations. So, Spider-Man No Way Home. Have you watched it? What do you think about it? Please tell me in the comment section below, and have a good one.